you're really looking for those blue spots. Black spots are also cold. It's white hot, black cold. So those blue spots are obviously colder. If they start to move on their own, that's when I get excited. So if we have something that starts moving across the screen or something blue comes across my face, I know that that's an obvious cold spot. Something spiritual is probably nearby. We'll have another device that does the same thing. So I'm actually going to have you watch this guy. So your hand just went right over the camera, so it should be completely orange.
You don't know.
You want to move your left hand, is what I was pointing.
The orange is going to go up around her.
Idiot.
So you can treat it just like a normal cell phone. Now the back of that just has a battery pack attached to it to charge the camera. The red square,
it's all blue, right?
The red square means that it's recording. So if that turns to a circle, you just need to let me know. You can tap it again, and I'll have to splice 2 videos together for you guys. But you're basically going to be a camera person all night. You're just going to hold it out so you can capture everything.
You are the girl, Bets.
All right. What else do I have in the crazy bag of gadgets?
That is cool.
So, we have spirit boxes. Spirit boxes allow us to communicate with those that are no longer with us. So, what does this guy actually do? It is a radio sweeper. It's going to sweep through radio stations very, very fast. In the event we actually hear a DJ, a song lyric, or a commercial come through, it could be a message. It could be that it just fell right in between that very quick scan. My belief is that the spirit world will use this to send us whatever message they want to, using the radio DJ as their voice. Does that make sense to everybody? I get a lot of questions about this device. And this one also records the entire radio suite. So, it's not going to record any of us. It's only going to record the radio suite. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit so you all get a gist of what it actually sounds like. Just going through very, very quickly. There was something there, I missed what it was. I had a little too loud. So again, it's already recording, and it will give us all kinds of communication. Some of it might not mean anything, but there might be certain things that are going to come out that are going to be relevant to the questions we're going to ask throughout the night. So I'm actually going to give this to the 2 of you. I usually have 2 ears listening on that guy, just because that way you can verify each other, and then I can verify again in the morning. The only thing you need to know is the volume button is right here at the top. It's a turnstile wheel. So you just move it up and down, you control the volume.
Okay.
All right. Told you, there's some crazy stuff in here.
You know it's recording it.
Yeah, I'm going to hear all of your conversations. Just so you all know. We're all going to hear your conversations.
Okay.
So, this is an electromagnetic
Let me
field.
have any fun and be silly.
This actually measures 3 different types of what I call EMFs, electromagnetic fields. The first one is natural. It comes from the earth. That's why it's green. It doesn't mean anything. Anything electronic, from a cell phone, wiring, a building with wires in it, is going to make it go into a pulse. Supernatural world is going to make it go a little crazy, and we're not going to be able to make a pulse out of it. Okay, that's really what we're looking for, those pulse, like the craziness out of it. So you look like you've been paying very special attention to this. So this is our first indication that something is happening. You don't have to hit anything, all you have to do is hold it all night long. When it goes a little nuts, you speak up.
Okay.
Very simple. So I don't like to make things up. So if something is going on, I like to be able to prove it or debunk it right away, meaning it's not real. So we have a thermal imaging camera, so we want to debunk whatever. I'm sorry, I didn't go through all of your names. So we know John, Betsy, Emily. That's my little wire hair's name. Remember that. Mary. Barbara. Pat. Okay. I'll remember most of those. We'll see how I do. So let's say Betsy is standing where I am, and she says, Nick, there's a blue spot on the wall, and it's kind of swirling around a little bit. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it's real by making sure the wall is the same temperature all the way across. This only measures surface temperature only. You guys have all been forehead checked, I'm sure, at some point in the past few months. It's for surface temperature. This one will actually help us measure the ambient temperature through the probe at the top. So in the event that it's the same temperature along that wall, I now know that that blue swirling ball of whatever is now in between Betsy and the wall. So I want to find it with this, literally by moving the probe between Betsy and the wall until I find where it's cold. So these are actually going to go to you. You're going to help her debunk things or solidify something. The yellow device is not our super active device. It just helps us find those extra things. So the top number on the yellow device is humidity. The bottom is temperature. That's the one you want to pay attention to.
Okay.
I can get into the whole humidity and how the ghost can influence that, but we're not going into that much science.
Good.
All right, let's see what else do I have.
I feel like that.
I normally don't hand this to teenagers because they have no idea what a point and shoot camera is. I normally have to explain it, believe it or not. So this is a simple point and shoot camera. We're gonna take pictures, Barbara, but nobody in the party can be in the pictures besides me, and that should be an accident. There's no flash on this. I turned it off. Why? Because I don't want any false positives. If you take a picture of a building and I get a light flash that comes back from a window, I then have to analyze if that was an orb or a stream of light or whatever it was. So my wife actually does all of the graphic design and photography work for Stories in a Cemetery. If we capture something, it's going to be up to her to tell us what's real and what's not. She's debunked quite a bit for me. She does a great job. So all of my degrees are in writing, hers are in pictures. So you can imagine, my books that I write, she does all my book covers, she does a great job. So we're a perfect team. So you're going to be taking pictures for us. Last but not least, well, I guess we're going to start with this one.
This is the silver is the picture, right?
Yep, the big one is take the picture. Now it'll shut off from time to time, you know, just because to save the battery life, it does that automatically.
So I just keep pressing on and off? That
Yep,
one?
when you need to take a picture. And normally when you take pictures, I usually ask that you get 2 of the same thing. So that way I have something to compare by. This is the neuralizer from Men in Black. Did you all see that? None of you are going to remember anything. Get everybody to stare right here. Look at you all staring at the tip.
I know.
It's actually a grid pen. Can you all see the green dots?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
super dark yet. But this will actually help us see things that we can't see with the naked eye. Okay, so again, when we're using this guy, it's something that's going to go by very, very quickly. So John, this is a laser. It shoots very, very far.
You are giving it to the absolute wrong.
We're gonna test your responsibility
God.
tonight.
You got a better shot of hitting a lottery.
We keep it down on the ground.
Easy.
And I kind of let you know when lasers are safe. Okay? Because again, this thing will shoot, and certain vehicles can even be sensitive to it. If this actually has fresh batteries in it. You can't tell now. 'Cause
This
it's still,
time down.
but again, it's going to come through very, very quickly. So, Barbara, this is also a place like whenever John's flashing this guy, you're going to be taking pictures, trying to go through it, and trying to. I'm sure he won't mind if you take pictures of his knees, but get those pictures, as many as you can, on the green dots through it. So in case we actually do capture something and he missed it, you have it on the camera. So it's kind of the same
How
principle.
will he know that?
It will actually flash back at him. When it gets a little darker, we'll do another quick demonstration. But literally, when it's dark out and this is nice and lit, it almost comes up in your peripheral vision. So he doesn't have to stare down at the dots the whole time. We're actually looking for something up here, not exactly on the dots on the ground. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
So again, it's going to flash to him that way. It's all about you, buddy.
Oh,
The, right there, right?
button. It's simple for you to hit one
On the
thing.
ground.
Oh,
There
no,
you go.
Told you you're going to the wrong guy.
So I do use a couple of tools myself along the way, just to make sure things are interesting. So in case Pat's EMF dies, I do have a backup in a pinch. Not that I don't have extra batteries, but in case we need one. I do use 2 spirit boxes myself on my phone. Now, I will tell you that the ones on the phone are meant to be a game and a hoax, but I get quite a bit of evidence and data from them. Because again, notice all of you are holding electronic devices, which means the spirit world can manipulate them. I'm not giving you dowsing rods and Ouija boards and all that kind of stuff. that manual stuff that only the person using it knows if it's working or not. We're going to have recorded data. So this one actually gives us a list of words. Instead of trying to decipher what they are from that one, it's going to give me a word here in the center whenever we're either active or it's just trying to spit off a bunch of words. Now it's going to save them into a list. Last night's tour actually had 65 words. We're going to clear them out because they already got theirs. And your words will come up one at a time throughout the tour. So, what does that mean when I say this is a game and a hoax? There might be one word out of the entire list of 65. For example, last night's 65, I think 3 of those terms were relevant. It's about 80% that none of it means anything. I will try to relate it to our location or what's actually happening around us, but if I can't verify it for you with some kind of website link or some kind of piece of data to go up behind it, it's not relevant. The last one I'm going to use is called a reverse spirit box. A reverse spirit box, I debunked this one also. They said, when I downloaded it, that it was radio stations being played backwards. However, I did not hear any music, and I heard the same 2 voices over and over and over again. It is literally, when I flipped it in my software the right way, it is just a man and a woman saying random words. They flip the audio backwards, so it sounds creepy for us. However, I do get quite a bit from this device. It stays on me, so on your audio, that's how I use to communicate back and forth, if I'm going to get any kind of response at all. I'm going to play it for you guys so you guys have a gist of what it sounds like, and I'm going to go through the whole group so everybody can kind of get a gist of it. Should sound like complete gibberish.
Sounds like you two talking.
It is a little creepy.
All we needs, Molly. All we need is Nicole. You're free and everything's free.
Now, just to give you a gist of what actually comes out of this when we do hear something out of it, it will be in forward motion. So, let me find the EVP I caught a few weeks ago, because it is a perfect example of... I'm going to go around the room with this one again, not that we're in a room, but tell me what you all hear on that one.
Baked beans breakfast. That's your voice. Sounds like.
And then repeating it after.
So, here's what happened that particular night. I was talking about a woman from England, and your spirit box told me, "I'll fix you," and then the digital word list gave me the word tea. They were each on either side of that EVP I just played for you. So, "I'll fix you," baked beans breakfast, and tea. I was talking about a woman from England, and I had no idea that baked beans for breakfast was a thing over there in the UK. However, it is, especially during those times. It would have been the 1700s. So, huge deal. That was a big, big win for me. That was a lot to go on. See how I have to look at all of this stuff in the morning as a collective? Because we might not see everything tonight in real time. We look at it tomorrow as a collective, and I show you exactly what we caught. Cool. So, you guys tired of hearing me talk yet?
No.
I use both of those spirit boxes throughout the night, and all I have to do is turn the volume up and down. So, we start here for a reason. I think I could take these off now. The sunlight burns. It goes with my epilepsy, so I really can't see in the UV light. So if I start to water a little bit, it's just because it's dusk and we should be fine. I'll work my way through it, I promise. So we start here because this place is haunted. This place used to be called Big John's. How long have you guys lived here? 4 years. 4 years?
8 years.
Okay, so this would have been back in the 1970s. And Big John, it was named after a football player. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. I'm not a sports fan. I had to look all this stuff up because I don't like sports. However, Big John used to sit in the back of the bar, and the cadets would come over from the Citadel and have a few drinks. And Big John would tell the bartender if they weren't of age or not. He'd cut them off, or obviously they were good to go. So one night, 2 guys come in, and they're not of age. So Big John tells the bartender, cut them off. They get mad, they leave, they come back the next night and try to steal the cash register. Big John pulls out his gun, shoots, kills, and the bullet ricocheted off the person he killed, and it landed in the wall. That bullet hole is still here. It is said that at times, people sitting in the front of the bar will not feel well, dizzy, headaches, queasiness, And that is the only place that I've gotten an EMF from on occasion. We don't want it every time, because then I can probably say it's probably from the wiring in the walls. I've only had it 2 or 3 times at best, just while I was waiting on guests and this place was open when it was Kane Rum Bar. I bring up this story on purpose because I don't know how paranormal activity is going to affect any of you. I know how it's going to affect me. I'm fine. I can handle it. I do this nightly. If any of you are feeling the slightest thing, I need to know. The first time somebody dropped like a wet noodle on me in my tours, I went to CPR class the next day to make sure my groups were going to be safe. So, it doesn't happen often, but it has happened at least 4 times that I can think of. So please let me know. It's huge and it's important to me. Again, this is real life. This is not your TV shows. So, all right. The other thing that happened here is we had a big earthquake in 1886. If you've taken any type of history tour, you should know that already. And a piece of the mantling fell off the front of this building, struck somebody in the head, and killed him. Paul, the previous owner of this bar, said that he used to see dark shadows right here on East Bay Street. I don't have any proof other than his word. So, and allegedly, that was the first death that occurred from that earthquake. So, there you have it. That's Big John's in a nutshell. When we go, we don't understand a lot of things. I like mine to be nice and quiet. I don't like screaming either. So, our first location that we're actually going to go to is kind of like your practice area. I'm going to bounce around with all of you, answer more questions, direct the lasers to make sure we're not spooking any horses, Mr. John. I'm going to remember his name because I'm going to be calling it.
So he's the bad kid in class already.
By the way, where's my skeptic? Who doesn't believe in ghosts? Really? Okay, we're going to get you some proof. Anybody else?
Yeah, I don't.
You don't believe in ghosts either? Okay. Interesting that you chose this story. Both of you.
Listen, it wouldn't mean it wouldn't be entertaining.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
There's a lot more history that you probably didn't know. So
Well, you're a lot more serious than I thought you would be. But
Oh.
that's good.
maybe I'll lighten it up.
No, I like it. No. Go ahead.
Still doesn't mean it wouldn't be enjoyable.
Stay as you are.
So I will tell you, I mean, you guys all read my reviews on wherever you booked your tours. I'm sure that's why you booked. But there are some people that they think I was a little too serious and they wanted more of a scare factor. So, yeah. It's interesting, some of the reviews that I get. If I see a 1-star and there's nobody, they didn't leave any words behind, I'm like, how am I supposed to fix whatever it was? You know, but we'll see how everything goes tonight. Again, this is a lot of fun. I want you guys to have fun, and I want you to be learning. That's what this is. It really is. I should have been a school teacher is what I should have done, but this is way more fun than that. So,
Got that one.
all right, let's go to our first location. Can you grab this for me? Yeah.
What's that? I know, and you gave the wrong guy the laser.
You actually experienced it. I just learned about that across the street.
This is like Ghost Adventures. Huh? This is like we're doing Ghost Adventures. Good thing I've watched that before.
I'll tell you what's happening. Alright, so a couple things in this particular location. Crew Cafe claims that they have a suicidal haunting. I don't have any record of it. That particular plat of land used to be a slave home, which means it did not have an address. There are no titles, no deeds, no anything, nor did any kind of suicide make the newspapers out of that plat of land. So I don't know that I'll do a full investigation like they want me to. I'll probably pass because I can't verify anything. And again, I don't know if that's a reconstruct, a rebuild, an addition. Like, it's a 2-story house. Like, that wasn't a slave home.
Yeah.
So again, I have no idea what's going on with that place. I do get a little bit of a spike on the EMF meter, which looks like you're getting one already too. It's good. So, history buffs, Revolutionary War times, think of me. Oh, yeah.
I just shut down and you said it, so I don't know.
There's a button, he was tapping it. So he's one of them. I gave it to the nervous guy. This should be interesting.
No,
have
actually, you were
some
talking
fun.
something like that. Okay, let's see. We got anything here? No. Okay.
There's a stop sign right past Crew Cafe. So Charleston used to be much skinnier during the Revolutionary War because all the stuff we have on the edges is pretty much all man-made stuff. Ship rolls in and shoots a cannon. It lands right at that stop sign, which is dead in the center of a neighborhood, and it was a neighborhood during that time. There's no deaths, no tragedies, no paranormal anything. Just one of those little nuggets of history I found that just falls on the line of my tour, so I thought I would tell you all of you about it. So where are we now? This is what I call the Red Barn Lot. The barn is where they keep the horses for your carriage rides. Okay, the horses are still in there. So absolutely no lasers between the two of you. You both have one. Can be on that building. You will spook the ponies, they will kick, and it will not be a pleasant jump for anybody, I don't
You
think.
did hear that, right?
Okay. Me and you gotta watch him?
Yeah.
Okay.
She works with animals.
Oh, perfect. So it's also the same red barn lot that used to deliver, they had the horses in there that delivered milk to Charleston. So if that kind of dates it for you, we're talking like 1860s to 1920s. But that's the furthest history I have. So that's why this is such a great place for you guys to kind of get used to your gadgets and your devices. And again, I'm not even gonna, like I'll be paying attention to mine, but not really going into a full session. I'll be kind of bouncing around with all of you to make sure you guys have the right techniques and those kind of things. So here's, yes.
When you said the lasers would do something with the horses, what do you mean by that?
So the horses are all down there underneath those windows.
Yeah.
So usually it's a little darker by now. If he shoots a laser in there, it's probably going to spook and scare them because they're going to see the light coming through. That's an open, there's no glass there. So it's going straight up to the roof and they're going to see it and they kick every time.
Okay.
So, and what's funny,
down.
yes, definitely aiming down. You really don't want to go more than 5 feet in front of you. So,
Make sure.
yeah, just stay off that building altogether. So we're really going to be watching your EMF, and you're waiting for you to really speak up. But by all means, I want the two of you.
You want it to go all the way, right?
It doesn't matter. Like at this point, I don't see a rhythm, so there's a little bit of something going on right where you're standing.
Right.
So again, there's nothing around you that would make it go off, because my cell phone, being even remotely close to it, would give it a pulse. See how strong that was? So it's going to give it that rhythm, even if it's a split second in between. So the fact that you're going a little erratic, I'm kind of looking around, making sure there's really nothing near you. Making sure your cell phone's not near your hand, those kind of things. We're really waiting for you to like speak up and say, okay, it doesn't have to go all the way to red.
Okay.
Just no rhythms. Be mindful of pictures with people's vehicles in here. So again, we want to kind of stay focused on what John's doing with the laser. Keep listening to your spirit box. Here's how I'm going to have
I'm a
you.
little confused with that. I've been messing with the volume.
That's all you need to do.
Okay.
Is it already, like, do you see a little SD on the screen?
Oh, okay. What now?
Do you see the little SD on the screen? Right there?
Uh-huh.
That means that it's recording. We just want it to stay there all night so we don't have to put two audios together.
Okay,
So
sounds
really
good.
all you have to do is worry about the volume.
Okay.
But with the spirit box, you're going to try to ask questions that are non-yes or no questions. And you're going to ask the same question several times until you hear an answer. You're going to not, hey, what color is the barn? What color is the barn? What color is the barn? It's a, what color is the barn? Wait 30 seconds. Can you tell me what color the barn is? Maybe try one more time. See if you're hearing the color red. I'm making it easy for you because you know what's happening. So you can even ask questions like, what color is my shirt? How many people are with me?
Yeah.
You know, things that you know the answers to. Let's get your listening skills to that box pretty savvy. You're going to do nice slow rounds with that because the cell phone technology of cameras is way past what that camera can do. It's all about the thermal imaging. If you move too quick, it's going to pixelate. So that's part of the reason why I gave it to you, because I know that you probably have a very updated cell phone.
I kind of figured that.
And that way you know, don't move it too fast. Nice slow sweeps, you know, kind of catch what's inside the picture. You're going to be helping her by shooting your red laser everywhere with the red barn, looking at the different types of material. We have asphalt, metal, brick, wood. No vehicles. So try to stay off the vehicles because again, I've had 2 alarms go off on my doors in the past. It's never fun. And then you, Sarah, we're going to be keeping an eye on you.
You
Straight
keep
down.
it all you want, brother. You know, you have the bluebirds and you got the buzzard. You know.
Got the buzzer. All right.
Us that are old enough know what that means. The ones that could read were the bluebirds and the cut-ups were the buzzards.
Understood.
You know
All
where
right.
I was.
So we're going to kind of check out this lot a little bit. Let's get you moving around to see where our big spikes are. I'll go ahead and mask up because I'm going to be working with all of you. Yeah, let's just walk and find out where our hot spots
Kind of figured that's why you gave me the camera. Huh? Want to be in the video? Well, yeah, I was just you can't tell who it is anyway.
I meant actually the gun to her camera.
Oh,
So
got
she
it.
has a crosshairs on hers
Yeah.
right there in the center.
Yeah.
So whatever that lands on, that's what the temperature is. Again, let's stay away from the cars.
Yeah,
Let's shoot this wall,
Yeah,
for
do the
example,
wall.
with your camera. So just kind of get a base readout. But again, it's going to be off by about 3 degrees. There's really no way to sync them up that I've been able to find.
You got that. I'm still at 93.
So it's just kind of there to help verify. So
You hold the gun in? Like
so
the
you
trigger
hold it
in?
there for a second and let it calibrate, and then release it, and it'll give you the temperature.
Because I'm like in the 90s. This says 87.6.
Like about between 93 and 94. I mean,
So again,
So just to verify, I'm
right.
holding it in like this. When it says scan, then I let go.
Yep.
Okay.
I got the number 40. That's interesting.
Right there. But see, now I'm going in the 80s. Right where you were at, now I'm going down. 88.3. I was right. There it is. 88.3. I'm bouncing. Okay. I mean, I'm looking for what figures, right? Huh? Part of the camera is looking for figures, right? Yeah, but it would be cold. Yeah. So the red is going to be the horses. Well, red and then the cold is the building. That's it. Everywhere. Like I said, it's cold right there. Everything but half of it. That's 80. Not 83. 81. Close. You said it's going to be off a little bit. Yeah. I had a feeling this is why I wanted to do the camera. I knew it.
Okay, that's a good one.
Wouldn't it be funny if you had a flip phone? Oh my god, I would have been like, I haven't had one of these in like 20 years. No, if you had a flip phone, like my friend Dee Dee. He'd be like, I'd be looking around, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. He'd be like, when were you born? How close can I go this far?
I gotta look at the number 40. Numbers don't lie.
oh, I did ask how many.
It's like taking a kid.
Yeah, now you know it's like crazy.
Yeah, I was not that bad.
It was 40 when it was in college. So I'll have to speak to that and get the link. Yeah, okay, definitely should be turn up a little bit just so that you can hear it. That's just kind of right here. I don't see much of the pattern.
But it's in the barn.
Across the bridge is what I heard. Did you hear that?
Trying to say hi to Chico, but I didn't get anything back.
He didn't say hi?
He might be on the other side, you know? I don't know.
That had all the lights on it. Make it go down to green to prove what it's here. All the way to green. You gotta step away from it. There we go.
What is in the barn? So what is this?
So again, when I'm using this to communicate, for example, let's say there was an electrical box on the phone, and you're getting a reading out here. If it was coming from that electrical box, when you put that up to it, it should be pretty solid right? It just solid, and then start to fade away as you walk away from it. When we have a reading like what you have now, it seems there's something around it giving off enough energy to make that go off. When it gets red, either we're getting or we're getting
how many people are touching the red barn? What is in the red barn?
Alright, everybody kind of have a gist of how your phone works? You guys wanna go learn some? Alright, let's do this.
I want to go see the horses. Kind of. When we were circling around that weird parking spot, I saw them. I didn't realize that was there. They were so excited. Yeah.
I'll be deleting that from that list. Drink. Makes me pretty excited. Alright, we got everybody? Cool. So, again, not such another pretty place, and I promise we will not be going to parking lots all night long. This is actually the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion site. So, their home was in the front. Eliza's garden would have been lined up with that first tree out here to the drive. You have to be mindful, this is the only way in and out of the parking lot. And then the slave quarters would have been in the back. Servant quarters, slave quarters. So, what happened with those two? They actually had a son named Charles, and they had a nephew named Charles, and the son and the nephew were signers of our Constitution. So that's a pretty big deal for Charleston. However, I hate politics, so I don't get too involved with what the father did. So let's talk about Eliza. She's a little bit more lively, I guess is the right word. Eliza married Charles so that she could stay here in the United States. Her father wanted her home because he thought he was dying, and she didn't want to go. So she got married at a young age, and she became a U.S. citizen and stayed here. The baked beans breakfast that I played for you guys earlier, this is where it came from. So, again, I got a ton of activity from this area. So, what happened after that? Dad got better. He started sending her gifts over from England. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. If you're not from here and you've been driving around, you probably have seen the word indigo quite a few times. So, indigo is a plant that makes blue dye, and it makes your blue jeans blue. We still use it today.
I read her book. I read the book.
Oh, so you do know. You know quite a bit.
Indigo Girl.
Yep. Indigo. Yeah, there's actually several books on her. So, and you can actually correct me if I'm getting anything wrong. I don't tell her
I
whole
don't
story.
remember anything anyway, so.
So, it was started right here, right where we're standing. And don't get me wrong, I mean, indigo had a long history here in Charleston, but it was never successful until Eliza got her hands on it. So it was part of the Gullah culture that we have here. But Eliza made it a business. They made it into a cash crop after the rice plantations went downhill. So they moved it over to Sneed Farm over in Mount Pleasant. It was huge. She was also the businesswoman that sold it overseas, which is pretty much what saved Charleston from going downhill. Eliza's a pretty big deal. So a couple facts about Eliza and things you can ask on your spirit box and things I'm probably going to be using on my spirit box just to see what kind of answers I can get. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. So she does go by her maiden name, Eliza blank Pinckney. Don't give it away. So we're going to try to find out what her maiden name was. That's on the two of you. They had 4 children. One of them was a daughter. Try to find out what the daughter's name was. Oh, that's interesting. So what is your EMF doing? Is it blinking by chance?
Yes.
Everybody take a look at the light behind you on the back of 5 Church Street. It's normally in sync when it is blinking with the EMF meter. just to show you how much energy is actually in here, it's reflecting back off of that light. So it's in here, but reflecting over there. Does that make sense? So I've tested it with video cameras. It's usually within 2 frames because it's going to pulse. So it's going to go 2 frames away. Very interesting. What else? You can find out what happened to the mansion. So I'm giving you a lot of really great questions. And you can find out how she died, where she's buried, anything about her death you want to know, she's more than welcome to tell you. I'm only giving you questions that I've gotten the answers to in the past with very direct stuff like baked beans breakfast. That one just surprised me because it was something off the top. As far as the camera or the thermal, nice slow sweeps just like you guys did before. Again, we're going to keep the lasers below the walls. There's a wall all the way around the whole lot. And again, you can definitely take lots of pictures with the green laser that John's going to be shining around that's not on vehicles. So you'll be good there. And your EMF, it varies throughout the whole lot. So we never know what we're going to get. Sometimes it starts while I'm talking about Eliza, and usually whenever I say her name, it spikes up to red. That's usually a common theme as well. So I'm going to kind of let you guys explore this lot and see what you capture with your device. And I'm going to be kind of doing my own thing with my spirit box and then follow up with all of you. We're going to spend about 10 minutes here to see if we can capture. So John, too, cool thing
this way. All right, buddy boy. All right.
You can actually change the dots. I try to get as many as possible so there's more things to capture. But really what we're looking at is actually meant to be as still as possible.
Yeah, because if there was something here, it'd be like on Ghost Adventures where I see stick figures.
You what?
If there was something here, we'd see it like I do on Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's...
Let's go. Keep going this way. I don't know why, but I feel like this back corner.
Okay. Oh, I'm so glad I got my jacket.
Huh. I'm so glad I put my shoes on.
Well, at least that will keep him busy from looking at his phone.
You think?
Yeah.
So it's 74. That's not very cold.
No, but I'm right where you are. I'm only a notch or two.
Now we're at 78.9.
Because it would be like...
Oh, it's 75. Let's go back by this dumpster.
Yeah, I'm at 75 too. I'm at 75. 74, so I just got down to 73 at one point. It's hotter there.
Huh?
The more I went back, the hotter it got.
Yeah.
For some reason, right in that spot, that's why I dropped down to 73.
I know. That's what I said.
It was for a split second.
Right here.
73.4. Where you are.
There, there's my laser right there. 73.2.
I'm walking between 77 and 78.
See my laser?
All the way out there. It was just for that split second. We dropped real low.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now I'm cradling between 77 and 76.
I'm still I'm close, much closer down here. It's 73.9.
Yeah.
73.7.
I hit 75 right here.
75.3. Whatever it is.
81. 73. I rocked it for a minute. I hit 77, then it bounced back up to 80. 81 over there. 76 on the ground. I got 76 on the ground.
74.3 right by us.
Yeah. Let's go over by that, over where that light was flickering.
Okay.
I just got 72. Right here I hit 70, that's because of the car, but I hit 72 right there. There's 78 over there, I just shot the laser over there.
Even though I'm not supposed to. Oh, 72.1.
Where you at?
Right here.
I'm at 75 right there.
This is 71. I don't know what it means. 71.6 right there.
I'm at 74.2 right there. Let's go to the corner. Just because we're like checking the corners.
That's 85.
I'm at my 90s right there. Why is that wall so hot? That's the hot, like the
Maybe
hottest.
it's just like keeping the heat in.
Yeah, because the wall hit 97.
Yeah.
100.
Here, what am I?
Why? 89.7. The wall hit 100 over 100.
You're 92.6.
I'm a hot chick. 85.4.
Look. Oh, 89.6.
Get over here. I'm at 79.
6 over here.
78.
78.9.
Something. There's like one little cool spot, like
Where, right there?
right up in there. He's over there, Gavin
Oh,
Hazen.
78.8 right here.
Yeah, I see you. I'm rattling around 81 right there.
I have 84.5 and even higher.
I'm right there, 84.0. 80.2.
What's going on over there?
Right there. 72. I got 71 right here. 70 and 71. I just dropped to 69. 69.0.
Right here?
Yeah. And then I'll just shot.
That's because I'm in the picture. 73.
I just jumped. I was at 70 and it just automatically just jumped up. 71. Now I'm right back at it. 70 and 69. There's one circle. 70. I'm right there. 70. I go between 70.9 and 71.
Nope, I'm still at 78. 82.
69. Let me see. Oh, that's probably because it's a piece of freaking plastic. Never mind. But it was right there, right where that plastic thing was. I guess that's what happens when we're in the garbage.
Yeah.
But it still shouldn't have dropped that low, though.
Let's check out this corner. 77. 82.
Two.
76, like right there.
Yeah, I'm right there too.
75.3.
70. I got 79.
I'm still at 75.
He's over there, Gabba Hazen.
Yes, I know.
He said this used to be where our house used to sit, right?
Eliza, yeah.
Why don't we go by the main entrance?
We were.
No, I mean, like, oh yeah, that's where we started.
Yeah.
Right where this is. 1, 2, 3, 4.
My oldest daughter.
Nothing.
Wait till another sun.
Right to the first.
Bricks are all Sundays.
Sure. So, spending too much time here. What are we seeing on there? Anything?
The lowest we got was 69.
Okay.
was
So
over
what's the
there.
base temperature of pretty much everything else?
80. Yeah.
So a 10-degree drop, I get excited about, and as long as you guys kind of gave me an audio marker of like, hey, look, that's 69.
We did. Yeah,
So
it's in
then I'll be
there.
able to check it out and see what's going on there, if
Yeah.
anything is relevant.
Yep.
And of course, if you were a car thief, that would be your favorite tool because you can then see which cars have been here the longest and which ones haven't.
Yeah.
So because it's based on their temperature.
Right.
What are we hearing on your end?
No.
We did hear she asked where she lived in Mid-America.
No, I said, oh, you did? Because I asked where she was born, and then we heard Charleston, but she wasn't born in Charleston.
And then we asked maiden name and we heard Johnson. But
No. So let me give you the answers of what we got because I actually had the word leave, and then when we were talking about the religions marrying in different churches, I got the word mixed. So it was almost like it was based off our conversation. It's a little bit of a stretch, but I don't have anything to prove it with. I also got the word battle. So
I was asking, how did she die? How many
she died of cancer at the age of 70 in Philadelphia, which is also where she's buried. So she's not even here. Her husband is here, but she is not. She was up there on business, and that's where she was 70 years old. So,
Good for her. She
but
lived a long
the fact
time.
that you asked battle, like battle of cancer,
Yeah.
that's a phrase. So that would make sense.
And I was asking her about indigo. What
Okay.
color does indigo? What color does indigo dye?
Okay.
And asking how many children she had. What was her maiden name?
Oh, I heard you ask how many children she had, and when I was passing by you, and when I turned mine up, I automatically got the number 3. The reason why that's relevant, I told you she had 4 children, but one of them passed away when they were an infant. So 3 would kind of make sense there. So normally when that child is brought up, all activity normally stops. I did get the word house as soon as I stepped into where the mansion would have been. So that'll come up on your audio marker. So when I find things on my spirit box and I hear it, I'll say the word that I think I heard or the phrase, and then I'll say rewind by 5 seconds. So again, that way you guys can go back and verify it's an MP3.
Okay.
So
They said something.
I also saw something in the green laser. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it was a small little blip. It could have been a bug, because if a bug passes through there, it's gonna flash like that. But it was something small, very wispy, and just kind of went away real quick. So again, I kind
Scared
of
it away.
I go up in this corner on purpose because this is where the mansion caught fire, right above it, second floor.
Yes.
So again, that's why I come up to this corner. I wait to see if the other spirit box is going to come up here, and I try to keep. I don't cross the streams. Back goes just a joke, I know, but that's the best way to explain it. I don't want you listening to mine. You shouldn't be, supporting something. What else did I? Oh, Eliza Lucas Pinkney was her maiden name, and that EMF has just been going crazy the entire time we've been in here. It doesn't make any sense. There's nothing underneath us. The wiring that you see around here is dead and should not be emanating that much off of it anyway. So, what else did I have here? Oh, the daughter's name was Harriet. So that's a lot for her to muster. That usually comes up as a word. So we don't hear Harriet. I think I've only heard it maybe once or twice. But Harriet has come up several times on this particular box when I'm in this location.
Have you had any other words since that last?
Nothing that I find relevant. But again, until I look at it as a collective, I got mixed, leave, hay, battle, round, appeared, yield, fear them, and appeared. So again, that's appeared and appeared very close together. So whenever I get something very close together, it's like an emphasis on something. It's like putting an exclamation point in a text. So that's kind of like, hey, I'm here, I'm gonna appear. Like that's kind of what I'm getting out of that. So I'll have to watch the video pretty closely. And again, the fact that I saw something out of the green, I don't make things up. Again, could be a
When
bug.
we were back there, it was blue.
We got some weird things back there last night. But when I watched the video this morning for last night's group, the temperature was, it was pretty standard, but it was really a little off right underneath the man-made light, which it should be like a degree or two warmer.
It
The
was
grass
70.
there.
We went down, I think, to 70 or something.
Yeah,
so we went down
70.
pretty low over there.
73, I think we were at, but
Interesting. Again,
And
that
it
would have
wa-
been the slave quarters.
But then it was only for like a second. It was weird.
yeah, and then it bounced back up
And
to
bounce
like
back up again.
Uh-huh.
It's funny, I caught the same thing on my Gettysburg stuff I was looking at this morning. I had a 66 degree, and it was 100 degrees that day. It was in
Yeah.
middle August.
Well, yeah, because that was the funny part. Because I told her, I said the wall over here, the wall was was like 100.
Yeah, it's gonna hold the heat from the daytime.
that's what I said.
I was like,
The wall was mostly between 80 something and 100, and then that corner was lower,
yeah,
and then we had a cold spot right in front of our truck.
yeah.
Up here for a second.
We got crazy.
See if there's any blue around. Or a lot of blue around.
There's blue in there. Right in the,
I got the word element.
yep, right in the middle. There's blue, all around in there. There's a big blue spot right near where her foot is.
That could, the way her toe is, the way her shoes are, she has almost like the old style doll shoes. Like her top of her foot is bare, and then there's a toe. So that's why it's showing her flesh is normal, and then you have the blue tip because that's a different material.
Okay.
This shows the same temperature.
But even it's weird, like even inside
It's
where
weird
all
'cause you're
the,
getting a little bit
yeah.
out there too.
That's why I'm like looking at them, like right in there.
Again, I don't know anything about. If I see something, I saw something.
And all of a sudden, like right where they're at, it's
Can
just
you
kind of
take your red dot and move it just past there? Keep going, keep going,
Eliza,
keep going.
How did
What do you
your
got there?
house get destroyed?
79.
Is that colder than inside the dots?
Yes.
No, it's
No.
warmer.
Hold on. When I was over here, though, 78.2,
It's like fluctuating.
78.6.
Go a little
See,
bit further out.
that just lit up.
You also moved. You got more of this area in the screen now before you didn't have that.
No,
Eliza,
79.1.
See what I
what
mean?
happened to your
Okay.
house?
Alright.
80.
I'm actually going to move us along.
Okay.
I think we got enough recordable stuff that we can watch, and this is honestly, guys, if I had a grand finale, this would be it. Like, there's usually a ton of data that comes out of this.
Okay.
So we're going to move up to Lodge Alley. It's about 4 blocks away, maybe a good 5 to 6 minute walk. Everybody's got good walking shoes on. Kind of checked everybody out, except for the flip-flops, but they're your feet. Cobblestone can be a little rough up there, so just kind of be mindful when we get up that way, and definitely a mask up area because we're going to be walking on East Bay. Your EMF is going to go a little crazy along East Bay because of the parking meters.
Gotcha.
The electrical lines are underneath the sidewalk, so it's going to make it go off, so you can pretty much ignore it. John, it's definitely a no laser zone until I give you the next okay.
Did you hear him?
As he shines it on me.
It's like you gotta take it off and then give it back to him when you want to use it.
By all means, keep listening to the spirit box as we walk up East Bay Street. Let me know if you hear any names.
Okay.
Names are pretty prominent to the location we're going, so I'll kind of explain once we get in there and give you the history of Lodge Alley, and we'll see what we capture.
Okay.
Everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. One step up, 3 down.
Why does that light blink?
I have no idea. Because the reason why I don't know is because it's different every night.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes it's not blinking at all. Sometimes it's looking like a strobe light. Other nights it's real weak.
That sounds like what's going in that corner where that light was.
Yeah, Betsy wanted to go on that corner where the light was.
It's different every night. I still can't believe this thing cursed at me.
She heard that. She goes, it's a fucking. I'm like,
I
oh.
saw it. I saw it, yeah.
God, he's joking.
In the restroom in there if you need to.
No,
That's really nothing.
leave him with ice
It's
cream.
sweet. It's a candy store.
We would leave you there just to stay there forever. Right, Betsy? You have the keys, right?
I don't.
It's actually the only public restroom along this tour.
Uh-oh. Maybe we should have announced that.
Nobody mentioned it, so.
We're going to go with that. Oh my God.
So this is what y'all thought it was going to be?
Yeah.
Me this serious?
Yeah.
Good. Again, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I get it. Everybody wants to jump back through the creepiness. I think looking at all this stuff and realizing how it works is the creepy part.
Yeah.
I told her, I said, it's a good thing I watched Ghost Adventures, so I have an idea. I'd be completely. Yeah.
I got more in the bag. I just kept some out. It's pretty dead night tonight. Usually I like to go down everybody's way. And you guys said you were coming down from Myrtle Beach, was that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to live up there when I first moved to South Carolina.
Really?
Yeah. That's when I moved. I was with the ex-wife, and I'm with a new wife.
Oh, there you go.
We just moved down here to get away from
He's
her.
not alive, right?
She wouldn't be there. So where are you guys staying in Myrtle Beach?
Called the Lynx.
The Winks?
The Lynx.
The Link. Oh, I know where you're at.
Yeah.
I know. You're in Northwood.
Do not recommend that place. Right, Betsy? At all.
Honestly, I don't recommend Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. Well,
No longer a fan.
it was just that we were supposed to be at Tennessee for the Steelers and Titans game,
Okay.
but obviously that got canceled. Yeah. So we came here.
Can we tried to talk him into going to.
Yeah, that's it. We tried talking him to going to Salem. Because we wanted to go there. And he goes, Boston's too cold. And I'm like, well, we want to go there. It's October. It's the best time to go.
Yeah, that'll be a vacation between 1 year for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Problem.
We thought it would be cool.
Well, this is the new career, so there's no way I'm getting any day off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thought she'd do some tours up there.
But I do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like the podcast and the website, it's all monetized. So, like, everything's still generating money even when I'm not doing tours.
Yeah.
But at the same token, like, books sell on Amazon and then royalties come in. Like, I'm good.
Right.
Everybody, like, it's hard to get on this tour. Like, it really is. I mean,
Yeah.
You can't get near it Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
I'm gonna go right now. Let's get a picture for these tourists. Let's get a picture straight down there. Yep, get 2 of them. You gotta turn it on. Camera's gonna shut off on you.
What did I do?
Not a thing.
You did what you were supposed to get
Right, it is.
Whole thing all the way down. When we walked in, it was red. All the way red.
For a lot of shoes.
78.4. I'm 73.9. $74.4. I'm trying to get slow so I don't fuck shirts up.
Execution style again.
When you said lineup,
Perfect, you know, ambiance for that, right? Another execution style. So what did we hear on the spirit box? Anything? Nothing along the way?
I heard dearly beloved.
dearly beloved. Wow.
So I got the, and I'm almost looking at this as a phrase, pendant under book. So under book came up together and the word pendant came up right before it. So I don't know what that means.
This or that?
This. So when I look at it, I'll see what I capture on your end based on the timestamps. But this is Lodge Alley. So this is one of the oldest streets of Charleston. And when I say streets, that means people used to live here. These two buildings were not here. They had shotgun houses here. I mean, you could shoot a gun through the front and go out the back. And these were people's homes. It wasn't the highest class of Charleston because they did an archaeological dig in between these cumbersome bricks, and they found some of their tools, their silverware, little pieces of their clothing, and they considered these people lower class. Again, I told you Charleston was much skinnier. The water's this way. So imagine low tide. This is not going to be a very pleasant place to live. Especially, I mean, low tide is nasty. So, it's a bad smell. This is also where the Masons used to meet before it was a neighborhood. So again, our hot, sticky nights here in Charleston, those gentlemen would have been down here in suits and suspenders, talking business. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here, started from the Historical Society. So in the event that names pop up, I verify them against that report, and then I send it over to you guys to show you the difference. The names Benjamin and John usually show up together. Those two gentlemen were the only two gentlemen that lived here during 1801. So it's very interesting that Benjamin and John are coming up on either my spirit box or vice versa, or even an EVP through the audio somewhere, that those are the two names that we're getting, and they're together, and they lived here in the same year. So last night we actually had a phrase come through that said the children, and then there was laughter after it. However, it's not a census report, so I just have the people that owned the houses. That's all I have. So I couldn't verify that there were any children here. I'm sure there were, but I can't verify it. So again, this is real. So if I can't verify it, it's not real. It just didn't happen, so it really didn't mean anything. Every hotel, like the one I'm leaning on, has its own ghost story here in Charleston, and until they start giving me free rooms to verify it, I'm not going to support it. So just know that if you put in most haunted places in Charleston, 9 out of those 10 places is probably a hotel. So hopefully in January I can start knocking on doors again. Maybe somebody will start throwing me some free rooms to verify them. And that way I can actually see what's legitimate and what's not. Obviously I'll be using the equipment that you guys have, maybe a spirit board, depends on who's with me. But at any rate, this is a very interesting alley, obviously because of the clay bricks. You notice none of them are the same shape or size. At one point, somebody did say that the turned bricks here in the center were because it was the exact latitude. Is it latitude? They're not. I verified it. That's a false misnomer. So I don't know. It's probably just due to the size. This is probably the perfect size for a horse and buggy back then. That's probably about it. We're going to walk through the rest of this alley. I definitely want you guys listening to your spirit box along the way. Kind of test some different materials in here, the 2 different types of bricks. Because the bricks behind you were like after 1890, the bricks on the ground, we're talking early 1700s. So, I did get some shadow figures here before. Yes. These back, like the restaurant Magnolia's goes back here pretty far. As far as the rest of this, I have no idea what this is. I do know that some of it must be storage from Lodge Alley Inn, because the security officer usually comes by about 9:30, 10 o'clock when I'm down here with the next group, and he's locking things up. So he's going back and forth. So it must be storage for these guys, is what I'm thinking. Also, at the very end, if you want to capture St. Philip's steeple for these folks in a picture, that would be great too. I'm sure there's great shots of St. Philip's along the way. But again, let's see what we hear along the way, and hopefully we get some names like Benjamin, because he's pretty, I got the word male, and gender, so we'll see what actually else comes up. EMF doesn't really get too excited down here, so when it does move, I'm excited, because it's pretty dead down here, unless you're by Magnolia's. Is that light still on? Looks like it's fading a little bit, huh?
The green?
Yeah. My battery must be dying, but it's usually much brighter.
Hey, Polly.
I'm actually pretty much busy every night of the week, so I'm going through batteries left and right. My wife goes through stuff.
This is cute. It's ideal, isn't it?
You hope it's there. My favorite one. It's tied to your purse.
Alright, so I stop here before we go into Philadelphia Alley, because that is a very hot spot for other ghost tours. Again, I told you we're going to hit some popular areas. This is the most beautiful place in Charleston, so if you haven't been through here yet, it's absolutely gorgeous. So we definitely want lots of pictures if there's nobody down there, other tours. If we get lucky enough where it's empty, grab as many pictures as possible. Every ghost tour kind of makes this their big finale. I'm going to give you the story, not in the big dramatical theatricals that they give you, but just enough so we know what we're actually looking for with each of the devices you guys are using. So the story is that there was a doctor Joseph Brown Ladd, who moved down here from Rhode Island. So keep that initial in mind. It was R.I. He moved down here because he was supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda, her parents just died, and she just inherited a bunch of money. So the attorney handling that money said, you two aren't getting married yet. Send the doctor away. I think he's just after your money. So the doctor moves to Charleston. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. Dropped him off. There was somebody waiting to rob and kill him. They were going to split all his cash. Somebody walking by, named Ralph Isaacs. It's interesting. Ralph Isaacs said, you don't want to stay here. His initials, R.I. I bring that up because it will come up on our spirit boxes with those different initials together. We never know what it's referring to, whether Rhode Island or Ralph, until we look at the rest of the clues. So, but anyway, the two became friends because he pretty much saved the doctor's life. He takes him to 59 Church Street, where he rents a room upstairs. Everything's going well for the doctor. His business is taking off. He's making lots of money. Amanda's moving down soon. Everything's going well. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. So, you can Google the Whistling Doctor, and you'll get a very long, detailed story. The doctor, because his practice was taking off, was in a different part of society than Ralph. So when we went to go see plays together, they had to sit in different seats. Just how it was. So imagine going to the movies with a friend and you can't sit together. Kind of how that went. So they talked about the plays on the way home. So one night they go see Richard III. Rumor is Dr. Theater, I don't know how true that part is. But they're walking home, they're talking about the new actress in town. The doctor loved her, thought she did great. However, Ralph thought she sucked. She was horrible. They got into an argument, and then it turned into an insult party on the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island. Obviously, they go their separate ways, very angry with each other, and I told you Ralph was from Charleston. So he has ties to the newspaper. He writes in the paper what a disgrace the doctor is to the city. He's not from here, he takes all our money, he's too expensive. The doctor rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley, which is what this was before it was Philadelphia Alley. We obviously changed the name because dueling is illegal and stupid, so they come down here to Dueler's Alley. Now normally the loser of a duel is what? They're dead. Right. Somebody's not going to make it out alive. The loser, if you can see straight ahead of me, there's an opening in the far wall that stands just above this greenery here. Okay? The loser would normally go through that doorway, through the courtyard, over to St. Philip's Church. They would drop the body, throw some dirt on it, and go celebrate the winner. That's how it normally would go. So here's what happened with the doctor. They come down, they take their 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. He was willing to forgive, realized the argument was dumb. However, Ralph takes 2 shots below the knees on the doctor. The doctor drops, his friends pick him up. Instead of taking him through the courtyard, because he's not dead, they take him home. He died 10 days later. Now, it is said, as you walk through this alley, you can hear the whistles of the doctor. I have 2 that I cannot figure out where they came from. I cannot debunk them. They're very faint. We have a lot of hecklers here in town that know the story, and as they walk by the alley, they were going to whistle. So I just gave you a fake one to kind of give you a gist of what to listen for. So if you're listening to this audio on your way back home, obviously you want to turn it up, but I also gave you a fake one to listen for. It's probably going to be pretty faint. Those are the 2 that I caught. They also say you can hear gunshots stirring down here. I have yet to catch that, and somebody on the 4th of July wanted me to try, and I said no. Fireworks everywhere. You can't try to do that. They were all laughing. So, also, a little nugget of history on top of what I call the death gate. The bricks we're going to walk on as we go through this get older. So these up here were repaired and replaced in the 1990s, but at the end, we have sun-dried bricks from slave kids. So they literally had to turn those bricks every hour, drying them off in the sun. They weren't fired. We have their fingerprints down there, and we have 1 full handprint. And when we look at the handprint, and I've been putting this clue together over the past 1.5 years I've been doing this, it almost looks like the poor kid put it in there on purpose after the brick was laid. He put the clay brick in wet so he can kind of do a screw you into the pavement, because his thumb actually overlaps to the next brick. So if you want pictures of it, I'm going to ask that you get your cameras ready, because that right outside of that is somebody's home. They don't disrupt anybody's home, so no lasers. You'll obviously turn that down, kind of like where you're at now if you want to. Video is perfectly fine, but I will point it out with my toe and kind of continue walking, so that way you guys can all see it. Just point it out to the next person behind you. And again, if you want pictures, I do get a lot of people, well, there's no activity there. Again, I get a lot of questions about why don't we walk through cemeteries with this. It's called Stories in a Cemetery. if you're dead, are you hanging out where you're buried? You're going to go to the place you love. We talked about Eliza, who's down here all the way from Philadelphia. So again, this is not a, I don't get much activity in a cemetery. I want to give you guys actual real activity. But that poor slave kid is not going to be hanging out near there. So I would not expect an EMF spike at all. If you do, it's probably from their house. So just to give you another weird story about the end of this alley. Last week, I'm with a very small group. It was supposed to rain that night, so there was only 4 people with me. And I walk by and I smell something a little funny. It smelled like a fruit. I was like, oh, that smelled like a grapefruit to me. I was like, I'll keep it to myself and see if somebody else smells it. So as we're walking up, somebody smelled passion fruit. So I was like, we stood there and literally like, it's strong here, but it's not here. Like we couldn't figure it out. We stood there for 10 minutes trying to figure out where this fruit smell came from. Then I got the word pie on my app, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. There's no such thing as grapefruit pie. I go home and Google grapefruit pie. Wouldn't you know it? Started right here in Charleston. Considered a lost recipe. So I've been trying to smell grapefruit pie every night now, and it hasn't been back since. So, but again, I found it on Southern Living, a legitimate magazine. So I was kind of like, that's crazy. I've never heard of such a thing. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
Just one of those craziness. And we actually had a little bit of time. This one actually happened a few weeks ago, right where we started at Big John's. As soon as I come out and said, okay guys, welcome to Stories in a Cemetery, a branch from the oak tree behind me fell. A pretty decent sized branch. Nothing big enough to hurt me, maybe scratch. But it kind of startled all of us, and they're like, wow, you're good. And I was like, I didn't do that, I swear. So later on in the tour, the gentleman says, I wonder if a dime's gonna show up. I was like, what is a dime? Like, what's that all about? So I'm taking it that it's an omen from somebody that's passed on for him. His mom, every time he's thinking about her or needs some answers in life, a dime shows up somewhere, back up, so tails up. When you know it, on the back of a dime is an oak branch. And there's symbolism to that. I don't remember what it is exactly, but I was like, you gotta be kidding me, I'll be damned. Because I was like, I wonder, because that was too uncanny for that to actually happen. I've been doing this a year and a half, and nothing like that has ever happened before. But another little weird coincidence. So, very cool stories, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna walk through this alley. Oh, the gate's closed, so you guys are gonna have a really cool squeaky sound effect for your audio on your creepy tour. Oh, look at that, it says memory. Telling you guys about previous stories.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, that's what I did.
I'll get you guys down there at the end. Looks like everybody wants to check out the gate. Oh, wait. Oh, I usually Yeah, nobody ever talks about that doorway in the wall because this is the original wall. I found that nugget somewhere. I can't remember where I found it, but I've been using it ever since. I'm like, that's a perfect addition to that story.
This is a thumbprint. My husband passed away. That's why I said pendant. Interesting.
Did you have it in a book?
Don't have it in the book. But
Did you?
It's in like a cabinet that opens.
Is there something written on there?
Yeah.
What's it say? Do you mind me asking?
It says his name and the dates of his death, birth and death.
Because right before that, I got the word sentence. And sorry, English guy. So I see sentence, pendant, under book, and then God.
I don't know.
And when something is personal like this, I tell people don't come in here with an agenda. I'm not running Ouija board sessions for anybody. But when something pops up like that, I'd love it because it's a connection. It's almost like I feel like I'm helping at this point. Like it's almost like a message to you. It's interesting. So I'll definitely have to be listening to the spirit box during the time that I have those timestamps. So yeah, let's cut through this tour. Oh, I don't want to lose. Okay. I haven't gotten many names at all.
And we've been asking a lot about
I've heard. I've been listening to you guys. So everybody's actually doing a really good job. All right, so let's cut through this small group. We're gonna go right behind them.
Had you not heard from him? And he knew exactly what he was doing. It was true. Joseph had not heard from his beloved. And he was worried that perhaps she had found somebody else and abducted him and just didn't have the courage to tell him. So it worked out. You know, and he got really angry.
Where at?
It's actually a great picture spot too if you guys want to use it with your flash. Otherwise, the picture we take with my camera, you won't be able to see what the plaque says.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to use their phone to take pictures, this is a great spot with St. Philip's in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, giving the tourists something to look at.
I'm trying to read it.
Let's see. Destination. It's gorgeous down here, isn't it?
It is.
It sounds like this during the daytime too. So even with East Bay 2 blocks away, it's this quiet.
Wow. We did the marriage tour. That was kind of fun. We got to see like the church and so many other things.
Yeah, the carriage store guys, like they are phenomenal. Like all these little nuggets of tidbits that I have, it probably came from them.
Yeah.
I probably take 2 or 3 carriage rides a year.
He had 10. He said he was walking tours too.
You're gonna start to see fingerprints. I'll start pointing out some of the fingerprint swipes. You'll start to notice them.
Oh yeah, I can see them. We're all over here.
Yep.
Right here.
Some more here.
17.
Oh yeah.
Good ones there. I usually put those out. There's another one you can't mistake.
Oh yeah.
And then hand crank is right here. So I'll let you guys point that out to the next person. I'm going to keep moving because again, I try not to disturb
Hand
the
crank.
neighbors. I'll be just around the corner.
You're welcome. Do you usually get the older crowd?
No.
Okay, yeah, the one time we get there, it's haunting.
It's usually pretty mixed. I mean, I get, honestly, it varies. Like last night's tour, I had a 9-year-old. He came with his grandfather. I mean, it varies.
Varies.
I mean, everybody wants to see a ghost. Everybody wants to experience some kind of paranormal something.
That's true.
Whether they believe it or not.
I like bright red. They're like green. It's kind of aesthetic, though.
For everybody to catch up, we got one last building. Got all kinds of history on this one. Yeah, take the spotlight one last time so you guys can see what I look like in the daytime. Did we lose her back there? Alright. go ahead and cut that off because I try to keep it quiet in this area because some of these are houses and apartments above, and I don't want to be screaming over the spots. All right, so we're going to be looking at the building that's behind you. That's the Wagner building. It's a very interesting place. So right now it's condos in the back, and they're turning it into a wedding reception area in the front, and it will have a rooftop wedding reception floor, so it will be considered waterfront. If you know anybody that needs to get married, they can drop $100,000 and then their wedding will be cursed because it's haunted. So this actually used to be a cotton warehouse. So the last person who had it as a warehouse, his name was George Poirier, and he inherited the business from his dad. He had no clue what he was doing. Silver spoon kid, got himself into a bunch of debt, and he blew through his inheritance pretty quickly. So he decided he needed to get out of the cotton. And then the boll weevil came in. The boll weevil, the bug that eats cotton. He's screwed. He doesn't want to sell his cotton to the American government because then it's going to just go even deeper because that's where all of his debts are. So what's he do? He sells it to the British. So then, right across from the Wagner building is the venue, and behind that is Hannibal Park. The water will be much closer, so he can see those ship roll in. He's watching everything from the second floor. Your online stories will tell you the third floor. All of my data says second every single time, so I'm sticking with it. They unloaded all the cotton back here from this really cool garage door that you see by horse and buggy, and they load it up. Somebody gets too close to the cotton with a pipe. Once it's all loaded, the whole ship catches fire, everybody dies. Now, George is watching all of this from the second story floor. He's already depressed because of his debts. He doesn't have enough money to pay off his American debts. His father's gone. Now, his father's legacy is gone. So what's he do? He piles up all the furniture, captain's chair on top. This term that just showed up on my phone, I'm going to interrupt for a second, shows up often around here. It says the word itching. Humans can be allergic to the boll weevil. So if it bites them, it causes kind of like a bigger mosquito bite. I dove into it because it shows up so often. So just wanted to point that out. So it is said from George that you can actually see the shadow of a swinging corpse from the second story window. Now, our thermal imaging camera, unique, very cool, but it cannot see through glass. So how are we going to see a shadow of a swinging corpse if one's actually there? We're going to be looking at the windows. They're going to be blue based against the brick. If they start to turn a darker blue or even black, that's a colder spot that's influencing that specific window. So every night when I'm reviewing this, I always go straight to the window when I'm looking at this location for everybody. I caught it twice. Very quick and glimmerous, but it's still there. So when we get to the front, just give us a nice slow sweep of the second story windows, and we'll see what actually comes out of that. Let me know if you notice anything, but I'm going to review it again in the morning. Let's see. Oh, also, this way, where we came out of Philadelphia Alley, 2 blocks up, is a restaurant called Freedom's Porch. Zoe from that restaurant likes to show up often when I'm looking into the Wagner building. It's the same time period. Her name was Zoe St. Amand. French, and it was her house. She lived there with her sister Elizabeth. So if you guys hear the name Elizabeth, we actually did catch it last night, and I got the word sis when I heard it through the audible spirit box. So again, we had a lot of clues from Zoe last night, and how do I know it's Zoe? She's supposed to be COD, not COD. So when it hangs over here, kind of like itching, comes up commonly in this area, Zoe comes up commonly in this area as well. Probably 2 or 3, 4 times a month. So that's common. So we'll see what happens as we're walking up. She will not say that her house is a restaurant right now. Restaurant is 3 syllables. That's a lot to muster, kind of like Harriet was for a library. So she'll give us words like food, or 1 to 2 syllable words telling us what's going on. So we're going to actually cross legally twice. This is a one-way street coming up this way. We're going to walk alongside the building. They're going to get some pictures for me when we get to the front. Your EMF is going to go crazy again because they're parking meters, so let me know if you get anything alongside of it. Keep listening to your spirit box, lots of film. Help us out with the temperatures, Betsy. We'll see what's going on with this building.
I know, so I was like, it turned around.
I'm like aiming the windows.
Yeah, just nice slow sweep. It's allegedly happened around this corner right here. So if you could just kind of try to stay focused on these two. And then maybe even like the one above the round if you could see it. You're actually taller than me, so you might be able to actually get a good glimpse.
Where are you at? Right there?
Yeah, let's get some good pictures of them second story windows. I'll brighten them up.
Yeah, I hit 69 up there.
Capture the shadow in there.
Yeah, 69.
I didn't hear anything on my spirit box coming through. Did you all hear anything? An itchy one. That was interesting. That's me from the
70.
warehouse workers.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of them chose to sell.
Yeah, yep.
You know,
I'm right with you.
call it a warehouse worker. Again,
69.
so
60 higher.
I see a pattern like that. I get excited.
68. So the further back I go in the building, the lower it is. We're in here. Let me see if I get anything over in the corner. 72.8 we got. I just hit 67, 66. Right here. The second story, second window. There.
We're actually like 5 minutes away.
71. I was right here. Yep, the second, right there. See where I'm at? Yep, you're there. 64. Go to the window. Go up, right here, right in front of me. The first window. The second, right there. 75. 65. 65? Yeah, I'm at 65, 66 right now.
Yeah, we're going to let it record for another minute or two. 66?
Yeah.
What do you have?
I had 71.
So another interesting little trick I try with this building is you see the stone at the very top,
Yeah.
and then the stone about 5 feet down from that.
Yeah.
At times, it'll be 30 degrees in difference. I
Yeah.
expect 7 to 12 based off the wind coming off the water, but
Yeah.
never 30. And it's happened to me at least
I just
5,
hit
6 times.
64. So the stone here.
Nope, all the way up. Very, very top.
Oh, here?
Way up. Yep, right there. It's happened.
57.
Okay, I go to the stone just below it. See the rounded one? Go to the left. Left. Up. There you go, right there.
68.
So 57 and 68. That's about average. That's about right.
But we were down 2 windows from that.
No.
I was here.
I'm going to actually hand that off to you. This is actually our last stop, just so you guys know.
66.
I'm
Right here
going to
again.
start collecting the
66.
devices from you guys. I'll answer any questions you guys might have. But if you don't have questions, obviously you're going to get all your data in the morning. And correct. Yeah, that's Byron. I actually wrote a book about him. So he actually is a spirit animal in the book that allows his owner to visit the afterlife. So I could not resist putting that adorable puppy in a book about death. So I needed him to be part of something. So I'll take that from you.
This is my lowest reading.
It's very enjoyable.
Yeah, so mine is 65
The
again.
history and the weird methods and tactics that I use of trying to find ghosts. But again, there was a lot of repetitive things that I find that were common.
Just seeing
I didn't
different
stop the
things and
recording.
just seeing, you know,